What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Pitchin Around. We will be getting started in just a minute, so just hold tight. Ray, what's going on, brother?
Yo, can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly. How are you doing today?
Good, man. Same old thing.
Excellent, excellent. We're just waiting on our guest of the day who will be joining us shortly.
Are we live already?
We are live.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, fix the hat. Okay. Our first ever MLB show. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Like we said, just waiting on our special guest, and we will get started officially in just a moment. Thanks for joining us. If you are watching on Twitter, please feel free to like and retweet. If you want to join the conversation, if you have questions, plays that you want to share, make sure you join us on YouTube and jump in the live chat. We are watching that as we go throughout. Adam, what's going on, brother? We are going to get started in just a moment. Good to see you here. Thank you for joining us as always. If you're not following Adam, you can check out some of his work in the Capper Cup. He's participating in a hockey challenge with myself, Spit and Picklets, and many others. So check that out. And yeah, we're going to get started in just a moment. Oh, Ray, you are muted, sir.
There we go. How you been, man?
I am doing well, doing well. We've got a double show day. It's NHL playoffs, tons of sports going on.
Yep.
MLB season in full swing. We got the NFL draft starting tomorrow. Tons of good sports stuff.
For sure.
How are you enjoying baseball thus far?
It's going well. It started off really hot. Went up about 8 or 9 units or so. Back down to -4 right now. I'm on a 3-day winning streak, so that feels good.
Okay, there you go. It's a
Just
long
trying
season.
just trying to get my groove back. Yesterday when I went 7-4 for plus 1.4 units, so I'll take that. Today's slate isn't the best, but found some spots that I like. So
Awesome, awesome. And we've got someone joining us today. So before we throw it to you, I just want to say that our guest for today is a content contributor for Flash Picks, an NFL, NHL, and MLB bettor, and a GIF aficionado. He is making some awesome cheat sheets on Twitter. So if you bet baseball, make sure you're following at Fast Money Labs. Connor, thank you for joining us. Good to see you. How are you doing?
I'm good, boys. How are you? Appreciate you having me on. Are
sure,
we live,
man.
by the way?
We
We
are
are.
live.
Oh, okay. Good to know.
Jumping right into it.
Cool. Yeah, boys, I'm not going to lie. I'm ice cold right now.
Today's the day to
literally
turn it
trying to
around.
remember the last bet I hit on Twitter.
It happens, man.
Yeah, we started hot. Looking
So
to get that mojo back today.
I was just telling Jordan that I started off hot, and then the past 2 weeks kind of been up and down, up and down. So
Yeah.
I'm on a 3-day win streak right now, so
Okay,
I'll
let's
take that.
go.
Yeah.
Let's go. It's crazy how the lines adjust so fast, right?
So fast.
I remember the first week or two this season, dude, we're getting Pete Alonso RBI plus 175 every day.
Definitely. Yeah,
Now
for
it's
sure.
plus 110.
Yeah, I hopped on that the hit run RBI literally the first day it came out, and I was hammering those for a good week. Next thing you know, guys had 2.5 lines, minus 180. So I'm like, damn, they adjusted the lines on that quick. I'm still finding value on that. That's probably my favorite prop right now. So I got a couple of those today. So I'm ready to roll when you guys are ready.
Yeah.
Cool.
If it sounds good to everyone, what we'll do is I'll just kind of run through each game. If we have a play or even a thought, jump in. And if not, you can just give me a pass.
Sounds
So,
good.
Yep.
Yeah, before we jump into the games, though, I do want to say, make sure you. Are we good? Okay, yeah. Before we jump into those games, make sure you follow at the Better Ways on Twitter. Better Ways is our presenting sponsor, and as of May 1st, it will be a free and paid Discord. Great place to talk sports, get picks. You can find Ray's content in there, my
Yep.
content, and we have several other amazing multi-sport cappers. So very cool. So please check us out. With that being said, let's jump right into it. Our first game, we've got Texas at Cincinnati, your pitchers. And I will say, I know we give Ray a little bit of grief for struggling with some hockey names. I am just as bad, if not worse. I am not a baseball guy. I am here as a host only. So
Cool.
if I get it wrong, let me know, and we'll improve as we go.
Oh,
But
yeah.
yeah, our first game, Texas at Cincinnati. We've got John Gray taking on Graham Ashcraft. Anything in this one for you, gentlemen?
I'll go first because I don't really have anything. Well, I had the Rangers yesterday. I was on their ML yesterday. They're winning 6-0. I think it's top of the 8th or top of the 7th, and the Reds came back and actually won 7-6. So that hurt. I'm absolutely fading this game today. So I'm not playing anything. They hurt my soul yesterday. So
Okay, it's a fade from Ray. Connor, any thoughts from you?
Man, that's funny, man, because this just an example of how cold I am. I was on the Reds' first 5 innings team total.
oh my.
They did
Oh,
nothing,
my.
man. And then I turn off the game. I'm so pissed off. And then I check later, they scored like 8 runs.
Yeah,
So yeah, this is a no play for me too. I find the Reds too hard to predict.
for sure.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Something that I can bring up, I
Yeah.
saw a kind of a popular play. I know a couple people in Better Ways are on it, but Ashcraft over 1.5 walks. So he's cleared that in 3 out of his 4 games. Texas, I believe they're top 5 in walk rate this year. So they are walking a lot. Like I said, Ashcraft has covered that line in 3 out of the 4 games. So I think that's a good look today. I think it's like minus 140. That's the most I play. So if you want to hop on that, feel free.
There you go. There you go. Awesome. Good looks, Ray. Next up, Boston at Baltimore. Your pitchers, we have Michael Cope. Nope, that's not the right game. We have Tanner Hook versus Tyler Wells. Anything from this one? We'll start with FML.
Yeah. So this matchup, it's crazy. Both teams are top 6 in run scoring. And I wrote about this yesterday. Every single game this year is going over the total, smashing through, averaging, covering the closing line by over 5 runs. That said, today it's a pretty strong pitching matchup. Both teams have one of their better starters, and there's a chance of rain in Baltimore, which sometimes hinders the offense. So it's tempting to ride that over, but I have a gut feeling it's going to go under today. I didn't actually play it, but the weather forecast just has me cautious.
Okay, very fair, very fair. Weather, not something that comes up a lot in our hockey show. So this is a bit of a switch. Ray, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm kind of with FML here, but first 5 under 4.5. That's just my lane. Like you said, Wells and Huck, they're pretty decent pitchers. I wouldn't mind backing Wells today. He's been pretty good on the season. He has not faced Boston, where Huck has, and that was his first game of the season. And the Red Sox ended up winning 9-5. But I want to kind of target Baltimore hitters, but none of them actually like stand out to me. None of them have good career numbers against Huck, but like I kind of want to go Adley Rutschman, but he's kind of been on a slump lately, just a slight one. He also walks a lot, but nothing this really, I want to play for sure. So I'll probably just pass on this game.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
And one thing I'll note, sometimes it's need to look at the day-night splits, so how a team performs in day games versus night.
Yep.
I noticed Baltimore 5 and 6 in day games so far, so take that for whatever it's worth to you.
For sure.
Boston 10 and 4 in day games, so they're outperforming in the day games.
For
Obviously, small sample and early. So, yeah, I could see it going either way. Agree with the lean on the first 5 under.
For sure.
And great segue by Connor. Our commenter Adam likes the Red Sox player to hit this triple. Does this have what's the short form of this bet? Because this is new, right?
Yeah, the short form is HRR.
HRR? Okay.
Yeah.
So Adam likes the HRR for Devers, who, like Connor was alluding to, has crushed in day games for Boston. All right.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at that split right now. He has 4 homers in day games, batting .314, 5 doubles. So he is at night he bats 174. So extremely better during the day.
Wild. We'll probably see that regress a little bit, but maybe something to take advantage of for now.
For sure.
Next up, we've got Chicago at Toronto. Michael Kopech versus Yusei Kikuchi. Ooh, hope I was close.
Yeah, Kikuchi.
Right. Close enough. We'll start with Ray on this one.
Yeah, so Kopech, he's 0-2, 6.97 ERA, 4.91 on the road. Let's see his day splits. He has a 6.32 ERA during the day, but I have an official play in this game. Let me just bring it up. I'm going with Matt Chapman over 1.5 HRR, so hit, run, RBI. Got that at -110. He's cleared 7 out of the last 10 home games. Kopech throws a fastball 61% of the time. Matt holds a 3.40 batting average against fastball and a 745 slug versus fastball this year. Kopech, he's been having trouble walking batters, letting batters get on base. He's walked 3+ batters in all 4 starts, and he also, I believe, he allows a 3.33 average to right-handed batters as well. And the Blue Jays are throwing out 8 right-handed batters, and Kopech did face the Blue Jays last year. I believe he gave up 6 runs in 2 or 3 innings. Don't quote me on that, but he didn't last long, and he got absolutely demolished. So I'm riding Matt Chapman over 1.5 hit, runs, RBIs -110, and I'm running the Blue Jays first 5 -0.5. I got that on -130.
Oh, let's go. Actually, my only bet I've locked in so far is the Jays to win the first 5 innings.
All right, if you want to collab on it,
whatever it's worth to you.
If you want to collab on it, let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, I locked it in. I got -127 right before the show at Barstool Sportsbook.
Gotcha. Awesome.
So you can get it around there. I took it to win a half unit just because I'm cold. But Kopech, he's shows flashes of brilliance, right? But he gives up a lot of home runs.
For sure.
And I think the Jays are well positioned to capitalize on that. They have a lot of power. He struggles with command with those walks. And then on the flip side, looking at Kikuchi was one of the most fun pitchers to fade last year. He was so bad, consistently bad. But he made some subtle adjustments in the offseason. He stayed in the U.S. for the first time ever in the offseason to just focus on training with the team. And he has a new pitch, a slider that's getting a ton of strikeouts, a ton of swing and miss. And my ultimate test for him was last week against the Yankees, because the Yankees historically crush him, and he actually pitched great at Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, he did.
He's prone to allowing home runs too. That's the risk. And Chicago, while they've stunk so far, they hit lefties better. So I considered taking the first 5 innings over, but the line was too high for me. I think it's up to 5.5 now. So I'm going to hold my nose here and hope Kikuchi can stay brilliant. I also like how the White Sox, this is their 6th straight road game. And this is their final day of a road trip, so they're probably just eager to get back home and just want to get this over with.
Very nice, very nice. A couple comments I want to touch on really quickly. Jason, Jay, our boy Jay, he likes the Jays first 5, like you guys were on, so very nice there. Millie likes Jake Berger home run for his DK no sweat bet.
Yeah.
And we got a comment from Tyson. Thank God the Pickles guy is gone. That guy sucked. I'm guessing he meant Picklin, but who knows? Any other comments on Chicago at Toronto before we move on?
Yeah, just to kind of back up what Millie said about Berger. The guy has like a .400 ISO against lefties. And someone else I mentioned as well, like Connor said, Chicago hits lefties pretty well. Lewis Robert also has like a .380 ISO against lefties as well. So those guys, I wouldn't be surprised if they hit a bomb today.
Okay, very, very nice. Next up, we've got New York at Minnesota. Your pitchers are Domingo German versus Kente Maeda. Again, feel free to correct me any of the pronunciations. Let's start with Connor on this one.
Yeah, I don't have any plays here. Both pitchers have been pretty average, maybe slightly better than average. And what I like to do is I look at their actual stats versus stats you can find online called expected stats, and they're taking into account just how hard the ball's getting hit and the launch angle. And they can determine whether pitcher's getting somewhat lucky or unlucky based on the outcomes. Both of these guys, their headline numbers are pretty much consistent with their expected numbers. So there's not like a scenario where you expect them to pitch worse this time or better. So I'm going to just sit this one out, see what happens. And then, if anything, I lean the under here simply because I've just noticed the day games in Minnesota. I don't know if it's the way the sun is hitting or whatnot. It just seems like there's not a lot of scoring in these day games in Minnesota.
Fair. Ray, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I got just one lean. Domingo Germain for over 5.5 Ks. He did play against Minnesota about a week and a half ago. He had 11 Ks. The lineup is pretty similar today. They're not striking out that much. I'm guessing just Domingo was just locked in that day. I think 5.5 is a really low number for him too. Looks like Minnesota is ranked 11th in K percentage against right-handed pitchers. WRC plus is 17. They're ranked 17. I don't know yet. This game, starts in an hour, so I might lock it in, might not. Don't know yet, but we'll see.
Fair enough. Yeah. Well, make sure you're following at Firefighter Bets and you're in the Better Ways Discord to see if he plays it. Okay, moving on. Next up, we have the Colorado Rockies at the Cleveland Guardians. Your pitchers are Marquez and Bibby.
Yeah.
We'll start with Connor.
Yeah, for this one, we've got a rookie making a debut for Cleveland, Tanner Bibby. And he's pitching great in AAA this year, so I don't know a ton about him. I've gotten burned multiple times trying to predict a rookie pitcher in his debut this year, so I'm not touching this one. But it feels like Cleveland's due for a bounce back after a disappointing couple of games recently.
Yeah, I agree. They lost 4 out of the last 5 games. Two of those games being Miami, 2 being Colorado. I mean, Miami Marlins, they're mid-tier right now. Colorado, bottom of the barrel. Their guys just aren't hitting well. Guys aren't producing. The highest batting average today is 2.66, and that's Steven Kwan. Jose Ramirez hasn't really been hitting that well. But like you said, I'm probably going to fade this game too. I don't know a lot about Bibby and Marquez. He's coming back from the IL today, so I'm not sure how he'll deal either.
Fair enough. Okay. Let's go to some games that we like a little bit better then. 2 afternoon games left.
Jordan, I want to bring up something really quick.
Yeah.
I don't know if most people follow Ballpark Pal. And all these Midwest states are super cold, so it's affecting how players are hitting, how many bombs. So in a couple more weeks when summer kind of hits, then we'll start seeing a lot of batters actually playing better than they are now.
Okay.
because
Good
it
point.
does affect how far the ball goes and stuff like that. So
Yeah, great point. Okay, awesome. Next up, we've got Detroit at Milwaukee. Your pitchers are Michael Lorenzen and Freddie Peralta. I think I nailed that one, right?
yep.
Let's go. Let's start with Ray on this one.
For this one, I don't see. I'm mostly a prop guy, and I don't see anything prop wise. Um, Something I would take. I think Peralta's K's are at. I think. Let me pull it up. I think they're at 5.5. They're at 7.5. Damn, that's high. I'll probably alt like his case to like 5, and then Milwaukee ML. That's the only thing I really got. Milwaukee should win this game. They've been crushing right-handed pitchers this year. Detroit, I believe they're ranked like 28th or 29th in batting average this year. The guys they can't score at all, but they have been winning games. But very very low scoring games. But I think Milwaukee takes this game for sure. Especially they're on a 3-game losing streak right now. Um, they need to win this one at home.
Okay. And Connor, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I agree. I like Milwaukee here. I didn't place a bet per se, but Detroit ranks almost towards the bottom of all hitting stats. Peralta used to be a huge strikeout guy. He used to have great strikeout stuff, and then he had an injury, and that line feels super high to me, 7.5.
Yeah.
It's almost tempting to take the under there, just because it seems he's pitching more to contact. But Detroit ranks dead last in strikeout rate, first 5 innings versus the right-handed pitcher. So I think I'll just see how that one shakes out rather than take the under. But yeah, Milwaukee has to bounce back. They played so well up until the last couple days. So they huge bounce back spot for them.
Awesome. Okay, let's keep it moving. The last afternoon game of the day. We've got Kansas City at Arizona. Your pitchers are Ryan Yarbrough versus Zach Gallen. We'll start with Ray on this one.
Yeah, I absolutely love this game. I'm on Zach Gallen over 6.5 Ks. Let's see, Kansas City, they're ranked 7th in K percentage, WRC plus 30. They're bottom of the barrel in every hitting stat almost. Gallen has been just cruising. His outs look good as well, over 18.5. I believe he's cleared that 3 out of 4 games. I'll back Gallen any day of the week. His stats this year, he is 3-1 with a 2.59 ERA. He has not allowed a run in 3 games now. He did get tagged up his first 2 games to start the year, but he's faced some pretty solid teams since then and hold them to 0 runs, going 7 to 6.5 innings pitched. So I love Gallen today, and I'm also on Arizona over 4.5 team total as well, full game. Yarbrough is on the mound. He's been atrocious this year, 7.62 ERA. Most likely going to be a bullpen day. He's probably going to pitch 2 innings, and then their bullpen is one of the worst bullpens in MLB right now. I believe they're ranked 30th in bullpen. So I absolutely love Arizona today. As you can see, they're minus 267. So they should be putting up runs today.
Okay. And Connor, what about you? Anything different on your end?
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely love this spot for Gallen too. Couple things with KC. So their headline numbers are awful, right? And then if we just drill down on that, see what's going on. Pitches per plate appearance, they rank dead last. So really good for that outs prop. I think Gallen can go pretty deep here. They also rank second to last in chase rate, so chasing pitches out of the zone. They're swinging at the first pitch the most frequently out of any team. And their contact rate is also low. So pretty much the stars are aligned for Gallen. I absolutely love that strikeout prop. I haven't been playing strikeouts because I've been poor with them, but I'm considering that outs angle, or maybe I'll do the strikeouts. Love those angles, Ray.
Awesome.
Okay, very nice. Go ahead, Ray.
No, I was going to tell Connor, since that's a later game, that'll be probably better to collab on one of those plays instead of that 1 o'clock game because we'll probably still be here.
Yeah.
me and FML will have something cooked up for you guys today, whether it's an early game or later game.
I love it. Okay, well, let's keep moving through the slate. Next up, we have Los Angeles at Pittsburgh. Your pitchers, Tony Gosselin versus Roansy Contreras. Ooh,
Yep.
I'm going to need some help on that one, fellas.
You're right.
You got it right.
Yep.
Okay, why don't we start with our guest Connor here?
Yeah, Roansy Contreras, he's a breakout candidate. Like, he was excellent last year. He's struggling to start this year. I think he's due for better performance. This will be a good test for him. And then Tony Gonsolin's coming back from an injury. So this is first start of the year. And I just don't know what to like. He was excellent last year, but I think he outperformed his abilities a little bit. Like it was just a career year for him. And the Pirates are obviously, their offense is super hot. So I honestly lean the Pirates here, just given we don't know what to expect from Gonsolin. I'm not sure exactly where those odds are at in terms of the money line on this.
For just the money line on the teams, you're saying?
Yeah.
The Rays.
Dodgers are minus 140 and Pittsburgh is plus 120.
Okay. So I know the Dodgers also have some folks out, right? Like Will Smith is in concussion protocol. I think someone just went on the paternity list.
Max Muncy.
Dude, all these guys going on the paternity list now across the league. I don't know what happened.
I noticed that too.
So I personally, I'm a little surprised it's minus 140 Dodgers there. So I like the Pirates.
Okay, very nice, very nice. And Ray, did you have anything in this one?
Yeah, I mean, I was not on the Pirates yesterday. Dodgers did win, but the Pirates were up. Let me see.
7-2, they were up.
Yeah, they're up 7-2 at one point, and the Dodgers just went on a run. Ended up winning 8-7. Sounds like a Rangers and Reds game. Gonsolin, I saw earlier that he's going to be limited to about 4 innings, and then I don't know who's coming in after that. And I'm not sure where the Dodgers bullpen is ranked either. But I can possibly see an over in this game. I haven't looked too deep into this game just because lineups aren't out yet and stuff like that. So it's just a toss-up right now.
Yeah, I will say on the Dodgers side, someone really stepping up lately with the guys out is James Outman, rookie.
Yeah, stud.
Dude is an absolute stud.
Yeah.
Great plate discipline. Like a lot of times rookies are chasing pitches out of the zone, but this dude is walking and waiting for pitches in the zone, and he's crushing them. I haven't dabbled with that hits plus runs plus RBI prop yet, but it's tempting here depending odds when the lineups lock because he's been batting, I think, in the top 3, and yesterday he batted 4th, and that's ideal for that HRR prop.
And to just kind of back that up, Contreras versus left-handed batters, they hold an average of .371, 9 RBIs, 3 doubles, 13 hits. So he's actually getting hit pretty hard by lefties this year. No homers, but lefties are making contact on Contreras more than righties.
Yeah. Adam taking the same angle he likes. He's going for the home run.
There you go. Terrible splits.
There you go. And one other comment before we move on. Russell says in regards to the paternity leaves, sounds like them boys had a great All-Star weekend last year.
Oh, that's what it is, huh?
Makes sense.
Yeah. All righty. Any final thoughts on this one?
No.
All right. Other than I just love what the Pirates are doing, man. It's fun to watch. I like to root for the underdogs.
Okay, there you go. Moving on. Next game, we've got Houston at Tampa Bay. Your pitchers are Hunter Brown and Foucher. I did not write down the first name. Let's start with Ray on this one.
Yeah, so for this one, I mean, the Rays at home have just been lights out pretty much. I think yesterday was the Rays' first home loss. They're 14-1 at home. Their bats are crazy right now. The Rays are going against Hunter Brown. He's been iffy to start the year. He has a 3.09 ERA. Let's see, on the road he has a 3.09. So he's only played. He has one home start, one away start, but he's getting hit really hard by righties, which I do like. So that being said, I like Yandy Diaz. He's been hitting righties pretty good this year, batting 355 with a 0.597 slug. So that looks really good at home. He's batting 321. So when the lineups come out, I'm going to look at his hit run RBI line for sure. If it's no more than 125, then I'll play it. Actually, minus 130. I think the Rays, they got shut out yesterday. Yes, they did. So I can see them putting up some runs today.
Okay, very nice, very nice. And Connor, any thoughts from you?
Yeah, only thing I'll add is this is going to be one of those games where the Rays use really two primary pitchers.
Yeah.
So they'll start with this guy, Calvin Foucher. And then after about 2 innings, they'll switch to Josh Fleming. So the first guy's a righty, the second guy's a lefty. And Fleming's been overall pretty good this year, minus his last start. He, I think, walked 3 or 4 guys in 1 inning. So I'm looking for Fleming to come in and attack the zone. But Houston just hasn't shown much in terms of offense versus righties or lefties. So I like the Rays here to bounce back at a reasonable minus 125 price. Didn't play it yet, but that's one of the games I'm looking at for a play.
Very
I
nice.
like that. Yep.
Love it. Okay, moving on. Our next game. We've got Seattle at Philadelphia. Your pitchers are going to be Logan Gilbert versus Taijuan Walker.
Yeah.
Let's start with – who did we start with last time?
Me.
We'll go with Connor.
Yep.
Yeah, for this one, I'll just say the weather doesn't look good. It looks like there will be a lot of storms with the chance of either delayed start or postponement. So usually when I see that, I just kind of don't invest much time looking at the game unless you consider maybe an under.
Sure.
And both, Logan Gilbert's been excellent. I'm not sure why he was scratched yesterday, but he's been brilliant. Think he'll get a ton of strikeouts if that weather holds. But I'm just cautious with the potential for a delayed start, which then messes up the pitcher's routines and possibly shortens their ability to go deep in the game.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair. Ray, anything to add?
Yeah. I'm on Gilbert over 5.5 Ks. I did lock it in yesterday. Like Connor said, he did get ruled out for unknown reasons. I don't know exactly why, but he's covered the line 4 out of 4 games this year. He has a 33.3% whiff rate. Philly possible throwing out 8 out of 9 guys with a K percentage over 22. League average, I believe, is 21. Philly's ranked 10th in K percentage at 24.7%. I just like him to get there. He's played a couple of teams. He's played Chicago. He's played Cleveland, Milwaukee's mid to all mid-tier K percentage teams. So I like him to get there today if the game does go. Hopefully it does. He's going to clear that line for sure.
Awesome. Okay, so we're going to move on to our next game. Before we do that, got a couple comments that we will pop up on the screen. Rain threat and muscle spasms has me leaning under if there's a delay and the spasms flare up. So that's from Adam.
Right.
That was the why he was scratched, I believe. Before we move on to our next game, and we have 5 games left, I want to throw it to each of our panelists to let the people know where they can find your work. There might be more plays coming today or in future days. How do people make sure that they get those? So let's start with our guest. Connor, where can people continue to find your work and what you're doing?
Yeah, thanks, Jordan. Yeah, all my content is free. I'm publishing articles on flashpicks.com, and I share information on Twitter, cheat sheets and picks. So yeah, I try to just keep it fun and light out there. And we're cold right now, but I'm hoping to turn that mojo around today.
Okay, and that's at Fast Money Labs. If you're not following
on Twitter,
make sure you give them a follow on Twitter. And Ray, where can the people find your work? And then we'll move on to our next game.
Yeah, I'm mainly on Twitter and Picket at Firefighter Bets, and I run 2 Discords. One being Better Ways, which is this BW, and Smash Bros Projections, where I've teamed up with Crash Wagers, and we do projections, cheat sheets, and all types of things. So you can come check us out there.
Awesome. Okay. Moving forward with our games. Next up, we have Washington at New York. Mackenzie Gore taking on Kodai Senga. That was just bad reading. Let's start with Ray.
Yeah, so I'm going with Pete Alonso tonight, possibly total bases. He's on a 3-game skid right now, but the reason I'm taking him, he's crushing lefties this year. He has 5 homers against lefties. Well, 6 extra base hits, 5 of them being homers, 10 hits, batting .333 with a .867 slug. If you want his ISO, typically that's for power hitting. You just subtract slug versus average, and that's how you get the ISO, if you didn't know. But he's been crushing lefties this year. He's facing Mackenzie Gore. He's been okay. He's allowed 2 home runs this year. He has a 3.72 ERA on the road. The Mets, they look absolutely lost. Their past 3 games, losing 3 games to Washington, got skunked 5-0, and then lost at San Francisco the next 2 games. So this is a game they should win. I believe they hit lefties pretty well. Kodai Senga is on the mound. He's actually been getting touched up his last 2 games too, but those 2 games were against Oakland and San Fran, which is 2 bottom-tier teams. So hopefully he locks in today and, plays a good game, and they get the win because they need it.
Yeah. What I'll say about the Mets is they obviously just came back from a West Coast road trip, right? And that's tough if you just put yourself in their shoes. I think they played 9 straight games out in California, and then they had a day off, but then they come back, and then, a lot of times even favorites get embarrassed that first game back home on the East. So I'm not too surprised they struggled yesterday. That said, Mackenzie Gore has been pitching great and pretty high on him. His strikeout line is 4.5, which feels super low. Sometimes you'll look at the trend. He's gotten 6 strikeouts every single game, and now his line is 4.5, right? And it makes you wonder. And I noticed left-handed pitchers are just 3-7 covering their strikeout line versus the Mets this year. So while it's tempting to hit that Mackenzie Gore strikeout line and fade the Mets, I'm actually not playing it, or I don't have the courage to take the under. But the Mets don't strike out a lot versus lefties, and they hit well. So I do like the Mets to bounce back here, given they've had some time to adjust to the time zone difference. And the play I'm looking at here, and I didn't lock it in yet, but I'm strongly considering it, is Senga under 17.5 outs, pitching outs. So to cover that, he'd need to pitch 6 full innings, which he hasn't. I don't believe he's done that yet.
He's done it once.
He did it once. Okay.
Against Miami.
Okay. Yeah. So I just noticed with him, he's not working very efficiently. So he's got this ghost fork pitch, which is awesome, right? Yeah. And he's getting a lot of chases, but that's what he does. He throws it out of the zone and hopes the other team will chase it. And eventually, after a couple innings, they catch on, and it just really causes his pitch count to balloon. And he hasn't demonstrated really he can be effective the 3rd or 4th time around the lineup. So 17.5 pitching outs feels high to me. The under appears to be plus money right now. So I'm going to look at a couple things, like, for example, the Mets bullpen usage. So if they have guys that are available to pitch, then that makes the under more attractive. Whereas if they're tired, it's more likely he'll go late. So depending the bullpen usage, I'll probably lock in the under 17.5 outs.
I like it. Something I just saw right now, Mackenzie Gore over 2.5 walks, minus 117. He's cleared 3 out of 4 games. Mets are ranked 7th lowest Actually, seventh highest in walk percentage against left-handed pitchers. So I think that's a good look as well.
Yeah, absolutely love that. Mets are walking a ton.
Yep.
First both sides of the pitching, but especially lefties.
Yeah. So that'll most likely be a play for me.
Very nice. Very nice. Bonus look from Ray. Okay, let's keep it moving. Next up, we've got Miami at Atlanta. Pitching, we've got Sandy Alcantara versus Bryce Elder. We'll start with Connor on this one.
Yes, Sandy Alcantara, he won the NL Cy Young last year, but you wouldn't know it if you've been watching him pitch this year.
Yeah.
So I've gotten burned by him a couple times. Divisional opponent, I've noticed he can, when he struggles, it's usually versus divisional opponents because they are more familiar with him. They know what to expect. They have better scouting reports. So eventually I'll back Sandy for a bounce back performance, but it'll likely be his next start at home versus a non-divisional opponent. I've noticed he pitches better at home. Today he's on the road versus divisional opponent. Bryce Elder's also been pitching very well for someone who's pretty much not well known coming into this year. And Miami's offense absolutely stinks, right? So I like Atlanta here with the risk being, hey, Sandy is Sandy. He could always come out and pitch a 9-inning complete game, make you look stupid for betting against him.
Yep, for sure.
All right. And Ray, any thoughts from you?
Yeah, I'm gonna be on Bryce Elder over 5.5 Ks. I believe I got it at minus 105, probably right before the show. Miami against right-handed pitchers, they're ranked 6th in K percentage. WRC plus 24. They're just struggling at the bat, at the plate. Jazz Chisholm struggling. I mean, their only really consistent hitter right now is Luis Arias. Sometimes Jorge Soler, and probably Brian Dela Cruz. But other than that, I'm a Miami fan. I'm a Marlins fan, so I know what the team is capable of, and these guys have been just striking out so much. I have not been keeping track lately, but I believe our first 6 games, every pitcher covered their strike line. So
Wow.
I like Elder today to cover that 5.5.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, that's a solid bet. I mean, even Charlie Morton yesterday, I think, had 9 strikeouts.
Yeah, torched them up, man.
Wow. All right, that's a team to target. Moving on, we've got the San Diego is taking on Chicago. Michael Waka versus Drew Smiley.
Man.
Any close on that first one or no?
No, you got them both right.
Okay, I would just assume no pitcher would go by Waka.
Waka, that's his name.
All right, that's unfortunate, but let's start with Ray on this one.
Yeah, man, I think I'm going to take the Cubs tonight. Padres, I can't. Waka has not been good. He has a 7.08 ERA on the road. He has a 4.50. He's getting hit by lefties. So ideally, I want to target a lefty from Chicago. One possibly being Cody Bellinger. He's been hitting the ball really well this year. Or Ian Happ, he's a switch hitter, so he'll be batting from the left-hand side today. Let's see. Yeah, Ian Happ, he's 4 for 11 against Waka with 3 homers, 6 RBIs. So I'll most likely play his hit-run RBI tonight. He has good history. The only thing about Chicago, I believe the wind is blowing in. Like I said, if you have ballpark PAL, it's pretty much negative for every for like home runs, singles, and stuff like that. Just because the wind's blowing in, it's cold. So, but I do like Ian Happ today.
Yeah, it's also I think 40 degrees there tonight at first pitch. So, lean under there. Drew Smiley coming off a near perfect game. He was just incredible versus the Dodgers last time. I believe Cody Bellinger just went also on the paternity list. I
Oh,
could be wrong.
jeez.
But
Yeah, he did.
I lean the Cubs in the under here.
I like that. I mean, I'm surprised. They won 6-0 yesterday. I mean, who was on the Blake Snell? I mean, he's been pretty bad, but Justin Steele pitched 5 innings, had 5 Ks. I mean, the Padres hitters have been so bad. I'm a big Machado fan. He's been batting, I think, let's see. He's batting 213. Juan Soto batting 188. I mean, the only consistent hitter right now is Bogarts. Tatis, he just came back. He hasn't hit in his last 4 games, but they're not producing any runs lately.
Yeah, sometimes I get too lost in the data, right? And then it pays sometimes to just step back and put yourself in their shoes and close your eyes and think, what if I was on the Padres right now?
Yeah.
And think about it. They're always playing in beautiful weather out in San Diego.
For sure.
And now place them in an environment that's uncomfortable for them, 40 degrees, windy.
Yep.
They're already not hitting well. So, yeah, I like the Cubs there.
Very nice. Very nice. Okay. 2 games left. Let's get through them. We've got Oakland taking on Los Angeles. Your pitchers are Luis Medina versus Patrick Sandoval. Let's start with Ray for this one.
I have not looked at this game, but I'm looking right now. Luis Medina, I believe this is going to be his first game being called up. I don't know much about him, so I will look into his AAA numbers and stuff like that. Guys to target for, the Angels, you can't go wrong with Trout, Hunter Renfroe, those guys. So I'll probably look those guys' way.
Very nice, very nice. Yeah, and I will say this is our 2 late games, so no worries if you haven't had a chance to look at these ones yet. Connor, any thoughts from you?
Yeah, all I'll say is Medina's it's his debut, right? He's one of the pitchers that the A's got from the Yankees in a trade last year. 3.86 ERA in 4 starts in AAA this year, so nothing crazy. But yeah, I don't know a ton about him. Sandoval, again, he's got a great ERA, but some of his advanced, expected stats indicate he could be due for worse performance soon. I don't know if the A's are capable of delivering that today. They've been hitting. That said, they have been hitting lefties pretty well. And one guy I've noticed on the A's that has betting value right now is this guy named Brent Rooker.
Yep.
Like I was watching one of their series recently because I've been fading the A's a bit, and it got to the point where the the announcers were like, "Who is this guy?" He kept hitting home runs and doubles every time.
Amazing.
And he just did it again. He hit 2 home runs the other day versus a lefty. So I'm going to be looking at his total basis.
Okay.
I need to start paying more attention to total basis. That's a market where you can get some value, and he's been plus money. So depending odds there, I'm looking at Brent Rooker to stay hot versus lefties.
To back you right there, Connor, he's batting 429 on the road this year with a 1.000 slug. So the guy has a above 500 ISO on the road. He's smashing lefties with a 300 average with a .750 slug. So, yeah, his total bases can be a look for sure.
Yeah, and the risk being he's been so hot this series, the Angels might by now be like, screw this guy. I'm just going to walk him. So that's the risk.
Perfect. 1 game left. We've got 1 comment. Adam, we will get to this after our next game. I think FML might have some information to help you with your NRFIs and YRFIs. So we'll come back to that. Let's wrap up our last game, and then we'll close out the show. So last up, St. Louis at San Francisco. Steven Matz taking on Anthony Descalfini on the mound. Let's start with Connor on this one.
Okay. Actually, can we start with Ray? I'm just getting.
Absolutely. We'll start with Ray on this one.
Yeah. Desclafani, he's been okay this year. He has a 3.97 ERA at home. It looks like lefties are hitting him better than righties. So if I do attack anyone on The Cardinals side will be a lefty, either Nolan Gorman. He's been crushing righties this year. They have a few lefties, Tyler O'Neill. Either one of those guys I'll be targeting, or Lars Nootbaar. Steven Matz, he's been pretty awful this year. He's been pitching about 5 innings a game, 6.55 ERA. He's been very bad on the road with an 8.18 ERA. Righties are tagging him up, so I'm definitely going to have a play in this game. Some type of righty on San Fran, who's hitting lefties pretty well. Off the top of my head, I don't know exactly who's hitting lefties well on the Giant side, but I'll find somebody.
Okay, very nice, very nice.
Yeah. So I'll just be honest. I didn't get to. This is one game I just didn't get to look at much, but I know Steven Matz is probably due for a little better performance. Like he's allowing almost a 400 batting average on balls in play, which is pretty high, and usually that stuff just ebbs and flows. He's 0-3 so far, right? But I don't believe he's gotten a ton of run support in those games. He's only leaving 66% of batters on base. And yeah, so the Giants have struggled a bit versus lefties this year, except for the other day when I faded them. They looked like everyone was Babe Ruth that day. But I do lean the Cardinals here. Just feels like their offense is due for just to erupt. Their record is worse than they probably should be at this point in the season. So I like the Cardinals here on the road.
Okay, very, very nice.
The Giants are also, they have the second worst K percentage against left-handed pitchers. Matz has cleared his over 5.5, 3 out of 4 games as well. So it's juice minus 160, but I don't know, maybe a parlay piece or something. They do strike out a lot against left-handed pitchers.
Fair enough. So that brings us to the conclusion of our kind of game-by-game breakdown for plays and what you can look for. Want to say a big thank you to our guest, Connor FML. Thank you for making time to join us. Really appreciate having you.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Please make sure to follow at Fast Money Labs on Twitter. Ray, thanks as always for joining us. Before we officially wrap up, and be sure to follow, at Firefighter Bets on Twitter and Pickett. And lastly, please make sure to follow at The Better Ways on Twitter and help us out there. Did everyone have a minute or two to talk about NRFI and YRFIs?
Yeah.
One thing
we'll finish up with this. We had some questions. So Adam, just in general, wants to know, do you guys dabble with it? So I guess any thoughts on these two bets, how they've changed this year, how you figure out who to target with these, anything you want to talk about on this one? We'll start with our guest.
Yeah, so I very closely monitor these. I don't bet them often, but if you check out my Twitter page, Adam, I post a ton of reports about first inning performance. So just at a bird's eye view, I think last year NRFI was a strong bet. It hit more than 50% of the time. This year it's reversed, and I think that was something that was somewhat telegraphed with the rule changes that are boosting offense, boosting run scoring. So the yes run first inning has been hitting 55% this year, league wide. And then here's my little cheat sheet showing the first inning records for the last 3 or 4 seasons. And I will say this could be a little misleading, right? Because a lot of this data is from the old rules era. That said, some of the guys who've kind of defied the rule changes is Tanner Houck, for example. He's a guy who gets a ton of strikeouts in the first inning. Although Baltimore's not the best, strikeout team. So looking across, I used to look at this and say, okay, where are my NRFI opportunities? Now I'm trying to encourage the reverse. So looking at where are my best YRFI opportunities, since those are hitting more, usually at plus money. So within that, I think the ones that stand out, it's obviously like Lorenzen in Detroit has not been a very good first inning pitcher.
Yeah.
And Milwaukee's top of the lineup is capable of scoring a run. So like that one stands out for a YRFI for me. Yeah. So, but I haven't been playing these just because the odds aren't always great.
Fair. And there's a couple different sheets that you can find if you follow Connor. So just real quick to highlight those. I also retweeted them. If you're following me, you'll see them today as well. So those are some stats to help you do it. Thank you for sharing all that insight, Connor. Ray, anything on your end for these?
Nah, I don't play them much, but I back whatever Connor said.
There you go.
Yeah, I'll say this page in particular is useful for some of the sub prop markets within the first inning. So, for example, you can now bet will there be or number of batters to the plate in the first inning. So what I'll do is I'll look at the column labeled 1, 2, 3 percentage, which means how often do they go 1, 2, 3, get the first 3 batters out. So that column of data is super useful for predicting that market. You can also see their first inning K rate, so you can bet props which pitcher will get the first strikeout. And I didn't get to go through it yet, but this page right here, Adam, can help you, find some value.
Awesome. So there's a great free resource from Connor. That brings us to the end of the show. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching. Thanks once again to Connor and Ray for joining me today. This is our first MLB show. If you have any feedback, we'd love to hear it. We will be back with more soon. Good luck today, everybody.
Good luck.